Hello, and we have returned soccer to the maxes back, and we are talking about the first game of three for World Cup qualifying on CONCACAF style, of course. I am your host, Sean Garmer, and here with me, as always, Mr. Erik Watkins.
Just when everybody on Facebook and stuff thought that they were going to get rid of me that easy. I told you I would be coming back. It's been a bit of a longer night for them, so do apologize.
Yeah, I'd imagine so at this point, with you doing your game show, of course, and you brought back the point of viewer. You still have, wow. I mean, Erik has got now like four shows going on. I don't know how you're going to keep a schedule with all that. That's
oh,
a
and, and,
lot.
and I got a neat curveball because come March, everything's going to be shuffled around. So stay tuned for that
Uh,
one.
yeah, I mean, at least in that respect, the football season will be completely over. But you still have USFL, so I guess whatever y'all are going to do with that, which I'm sure you would cover that as well. So yes, we are going to be talking about the U.S. men's national team's 1-0 win over El Salvador here. There is, I guess, some things to talk about. They at least the number one word for me is consistency. At least they always find a way to win in the same way. With a goal in the second half, this team just seems to that's what they are. They are a second half team. Greg Berhalter makes some adjustments. He sees the lay of the land and then makes it happen. To be fair, they did have a couple of chances in the first half that they should have. One of those should have been delivered on. We'll talk about that. Of course, we're also going to go around the rest of CONCACAF because some very interesting results, especially a huge one in the final game that now makes not only their game more important, it breathes a little bit of life back into the proceedings because we thought it was going to be, we're just battling to figure out who the heck is going to be who in the top four is going to place. But now there's actually one team that has given themselves a fighting shot while the other three are pretty much almost done and dusted at this point. And Panama has a shot to basically destroy the hopes of the final team that really has an opportunity, honestly, if they're able to redeem themselves from what happened here. But let's start out with discussing the U.S. men's national team side of things. Obviously, it's probably what most people care about when they're coming to look at and listen to us at all here, Erik. Is we're talking about a goal that very similar to the one that he scored against Honduras, almost around the same time. I think about a couple of minutes difference. Very
Thereabouts.
early in the second half, Antonee Robinson receives a header from Jesus Ferriera that skips through Christian Pulisic and I think Timothy Weah as well, and then finds the foot of Antonee Robinson, who, to his credit, had been having a pretty good game by then. He goes on and solidifies that more again on by having some opportunities that force some saves out of the goalkeeper, and then also just being a force going up and down that left side. We'll talk about more about him later, but what did you think about the decision to start Jesus Ferreira instead of starting a Ricardo Pepe that everybody's been talking about? That has been, he moves to Augsburg. We haven't done a show to really discuss that. Pepe moving from Dallas to FC Augsburg, which now are in a relegation fight there in Bundesliga. He has not done a whole lot, to be fair. I mean, it's not like Augsburg is a team that gives you a lot of chances to score. He has to learn to make the most of what he has. But he Ferreira also plays a different game than Pepe. So what did you see out of, do you see his performance as positive? I know we're going to think about those two misses that he had, but I feel like there was more bright spots than that.
Yeah, even with the misses, I mean, Berhalter kind of had this mentality. It's like, you know what? We've already got a little bit of advantage. with the weather, with the atmosphere. We were already down and dirty with El Salvador once. Tried to keep in sort of that same mindset. It didn't entirely come to fruition in the first half, but I really didn't see any problems from Ferreira in particular. Now, as a team, yeah, there were a lot of things that they eventually did clean up, but it sort of fit with okay, grind this out, do a little bit more work, send that message, make El Salvador go up and try to defend closer in the box. And that's what they had to do, especially in the first half.
Yeah, definitely. I think for the most part, El Salvador did a good job of like staying compact and being important there. And then also just they were not really letting the U.S. do too much, but they were also, because of that pressing, they were leaving space in behind, which that's what Tim Weah was taking advantage of there on the right side. It was a lot of Serginho Dest to Tim Weah and then getting things going that way. And then in the second half, they kind of seemed to change it to more of Pulisic and Antonee Robinson working on the left side. And then, of course, that moving in Ferreira and everything else. I am all for what's happening on that end. I just think that we saw it, and I think we see it more in this chance that doesn't taking away the two from Ferreira, which the first one I think was difficult. He makes a move to actually make himself viable. He is not able to get it. The second one, that's on him. You got to hit it with the other foot and make that work and put that in, and he just doesn't. I was aside from that, I think the one in the 4-1 41st minute with Pulisic, you can clearly see that Tim Weah wants that ball first time quick, and Pulisic just holds onto the ball and then keeps it going, and then he has to rely on Antonee Robinson to make the cross, and by then it's too late for Weah, and it doesn't work out as much as you'd want him to, and I think that's something that we see a little bit too much here of Christian Pulisic. I mean, I think he's got this mindset of, okay, well, I'm not at Chelsea. I don't have to be passive to anyone. I'm Christian Pulisic. I'm the guy of this team. You know, I've got to do more than I really have to. And I wonder if that gets them a little bit, Erik, because it just feels like he tries to do too much.
Yeah, and when you have got someone like he's developed this reputation here as, the wunderkind, the savior, you think whenever you're donning those national colors, it plays in. So it's just like you don't let that game really come to you. And I'm glad that you had mentioned that chance with Weah, because that was one of the few times to where El Salvador defensively was caught a little bit off guard.
Right.
That quick pass, Weah has it, lethal in front of goal. You've got 1-0 going into the break, but he's looking around and it's like, okay, I don't have X, Y, Z around me like I do in Chelsea. I don't have these defenders in the Premier League where, I can figure out Nolan moves this and that. It's like, okay, I'm me. What do I do to really overcreate in a sense? And that's going to be a bit tough to shake. It's doable, but I don't know necessarily how.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder sometimes if he is a better super sub at times for the team than, say, someone that's there from the start, and then because it seems like they play much more freely. They kind of have a better understanding of each other when Aronson is in there. Than, let's say, where Pulisic is in there, because you have this person that you feel like you have to deflect to, like you have to give the ball to in a way, and you have to get involved. Whereas the rest of, perhaps when he's not in there, it's more of a, okay, well, the midfield can do what they do. You get it over to whoever's up front or on the wings with the fullbacks, and they get things going, because the fullbacks really are what drive this team, as it does a lot of teams in soccer at this point. The fullbacks are such a focal point for soccer, period. But Antonee Robinson, Gino Dest really were vital parts of this game. Hopefully Dest is okay. It seemed like he kind of came up injured in the last little bit there before the game ended. But I don't know. Would you say it's more El Salvador didn't do enough? Or would you say that there's some credit to be given to the defense here in this game? Because they really only had one opportunity, the Alex Roldan chance in about the 28th minute where he shoots it wide of Matt Turner's goal. I think they had that other one with the header in like the 84th, but that really didn't even get close.
I mean, while our defense was solid, it almost seemed like, especially up until that goal, El Salvador was really playing for something like a 0-0, because it's like we're going to be okay. We're going to sit back, as you mentioned, going to be compact. They're not taking advantage of their opportunities. So if we maybe get something on just like a quick counter, maybe go ahead and create something wide of our own, or maybe route one even, we can go ahead and steal it, but we can't let them score at all. And it worked until it didn't. And even after that, El Salvador, they couldn't switch and be like, okay, maybe we got to press a little bit higher. Maybe we got to get generating a bit more in midfield. It was just very lackluster.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was like you're saying, they're sitting there trying to see if they can get a point out of this game. It's not a game that they're expecting to get much out of. It's unfortunate for them, right, that unless all the teams underneath them were able to beat the teams above them, the hole that they were going to create was going to be even bigger. And only one of those teams was able to accomplish their goal. And unfortunately, it was probably the one that they wanted it to happen for the least, because they had the most points going in. So this wasn't helpful to anything. They needed Jamaica to get a draw or a win. They needed Honduras to actually come out and play, and neither of those things happened. Jamaica almost got it, but a 3-minute window late for them was not helpful. We'll talk about that more. But unfortunately, this was not a game that I think El Salvador knew. As much as Hugo Perez wanted to talk up that they really were gonna bring an effort. Again, they defended well. They didn't really have any moments where you were worried, honestly, as the U.S. men's national team fan, but at least they kept it from being a blowout. And when you look at it on the other side, would you say that this is one of those, it's a missed opportunity for the U.S. of saying, you know what your quality of opposition is, shouldn't you have taken it to them more? Or is it one of those where, well, you kind of dominated in a sense. Yeah, you had more of the opportunities. You had the Musa hit that they got saved. You had the header from McKinney that went over. You had the two Robinson saves. You had a few others. Is that enough, or should you really be getting at this team for not scoring more, doing more?
This very easily, could have been 3-4-0. In the second half, it was playing more like, okay, the ball bounces a little bit funny. You do have some of those missed chances. I'm willing to forgive in a way, because you were showing and motivating like you were pushing and attacking. Yes, you were doing that in the first half as well, but once you got in that final third, it was sloppy. And one of the big stats that they had mentioned, and you noted, not just the 8 shots, but none on goal, but leading up to those chances, 15 cross attempts, you only complete 3.
Yeah.
3. Against a better quality team, one of those 12 is going to be a goal or at least a couple half chances. Then you're chasing the game. You go ahead, you convert that with more efficiency, make those right cutting moves, and getting yourself open more, even in front of the 6-yard box. Get that goal, get to make El Salvador change plans, and then you can run riot in the second half. I get the consistency being a second half team, fine, but at some point it's going to bite you. And I can't give too much credit for the win because it should have been worse.
Yeah, as a fan of the team, you're wanting them to do more against what is you would look. Everybody that makes the octagonal is good in a way, but they are definitely lesser opposition when you're looking at the ones that you're sharing the top of the table with.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely want to have that game where you were dominant. You're wanting to have that game where you're showing we are the USMNT national team. We want to give that opportunity to be able to show you that we're not going to be messing around. And it just feels the same way of, well, this is another Greg Berhalter USMNT national team performance. They go out there. They sort of have some moments in the first half. They were lucky that it wasn't like the Jamaica game where El Salvador was not out there trying to injure people or having a big star like Mikel Antonio that can get you a goal out of nothing like what happened in Jamaica. So, if you go back to that game, there's opportunities where, yeah, Jamaica could have got a red card, but there's also opportunities where if you call some things against the U.S. or Cordova Reed hits that goal shot right in front, you're looking at perhaps a Jamaica upset.
Mm-hmm.
But El Salvador never gave you that fear, and instead of turning that on and being aggressive, they don't really do that. They had that little bit of spell right after the goal, but after that, it was kind of like, all right, cruise control.
Yeah, you pack it in.
You don't want to see them do that.
No, you don't, because when you see that packing it in, it's like, okay, everybody in the box, Antonee Robinson was right place, right time. But what happened? Where was taking it in, making charge. You had your players step up, everybody going forward, pushing, because you knew El Salvador, you could break them down at some point. Getting that somewhat ugly goal with the various deflections and stuff, that would be like, okay, we know we can get them. We know we have these ways of breaking them down. Why didn't they do that more?
Yeah. I don't know what that mentality is. Was it Berhalter just kind of saying, look, we got the goal that we needed? They're not really pushing it against us. We don't have any clear openings to just go counterattack at them. Not that they didn't try or anything, but it's just like things just didn't work out for the team. I do think that, again, you saw positives. Tim Weah was, again, very positive there on the right side. You had, again, Antonee Robinson was the man of the match for me. Other than the goal, he had his opportunities going forward and had, forced some of those saves and also had some, interesting crosses and didn't work out necessarily. But you had, I thought Ferreira had his moments as well, aside from the 2 created chances. He definitely has a place in the team. I think he perhaps more as the number 10 or playmaker that you see him play with Dallas as the second striker, not necessarily as the lead striker, which I'm still contending that Berhalter is not sending in the kind of strikers that you really want to see. Now, to be fair to Josh Chardon, he scored those goals with Norwich right after they'd already announced the team. So I don't think he was going to change that. And don't know if Daryl Dike has really been able to do a whole lot with West Brom. But for me, I just don't understand this mentality of, I get why you're bringing in Pepe. I get why you're bringing in Ferreira. I kind of get the whole Jossie Zardes is your guy. But the still not bringing in Jordan Pefok thing, this doesn't make sense to me. You always should have somebody that is a poacher. You should always have somebody that just has that eye for goal. The guy that will be there to hit it with his head, to be there to hit it with his chest in the goal, whatever you need him to do. And he is that guy that that he'll get you a goal out of nothing. That's just a scrap, like you need a defender or a forward in that vein. And it's weird that I don't know if it's the COVID thing. I don't know if it's, the fact that he's coming from Europe, and I guess he was still trying to have a lot of it being based in the United States a lot, but it's just weird to me. It's like, I get that maybe he didn't have the best showing the last time you saw him, but he's been scoring goals. This isn't like John Anthony Brooks, where we can keep making this argument about, well, they should bring him in. He's still the best guy that with the ball at his feet and all that other stuff. He's kind of doing better for Wolfsburg, but where's Wolfsburg at? They're still at the bottom of the table. It's not like, his defending is really doing a whole lot for Wolfsburg right now. The defense is not the problem for the United States at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, it's up front.
How many times have we said all throughout this qualifying cycle, all throughout the octagonal, who's our number 9? Who's our number 9? Who's our number 9? We've given all these guys chances. Why not Pefok? And you say it yourself. In CONCACAF, up front, you got to scrap. How did we get this goal tonight? Scrap. How have we been getting a lot of these second half opportunities and things that we have in these matches? Scrap, scrap, scrap. Right place, right time, right touch. Because sometimes it's all you're going to get. Why Pefok, who is proven to be that right place, right time, right touch kind of guy, not getting these chances? I'm with you. I question that.
He's the guy that has the most goals of all the United States strikers in the calendar year of 2021. So it's like, does that stuff not matter? I mean, is that not what you look at outside of the whole, okay, well, now I just have my guys at this point, and only a few of them are going to move the needle to make me change or not. I will give him a lot of credit. He sat Ricardo Pepe today, who has not been playing well. He's adjusting to playing now in Germany, and I give him a lot of credit for sitting him. Now, I don't know if that's the idea of I sat him in this game to play him in Canada, or I sat him so that maybe he'll get some kind of hunger to want to do something, because he hasn't done anything since the last time he scored for the United States, whether it was for FC Dallas, whether it's for Augsburg right now, or, the U.S., he's gone cold. How does he react from that and change? Now, I think it's kind of weird if we don't see him in either one of these games that are left, either Honduras or Canada. I don't know what Greg's thinking is right now, but I'm glad that he kind of found somebody he likes in Jesus Ferreira or whatever that works for bringing you a different kind of striker, but I still feel like you're missing that guy up front that is strong, physical, that will get you a goal when you really, really need it. I mean, like a Lukaku, like we have in various other teams, clubs in the world, I think you got to use your strengths there.
Yeah, and for something like this, knowing Berhalter's previous strategy, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Pepe up front in Hamilton against the Reds.
On the concrete that they're going to be playing on, pretty much.
Yeah, you talk about, the frozen tundra. You're across the border. It's the true Great White North with all this Arctic air. I mean, realistically, I would like to see him more just against Honduras, but we know what Berhalter's thinking. maybe in that sort of
Yeah.
environment, that will help pump him up, and then he can go back to Augsburg and to continue his adjustment and see something from there. Hopefully.
Yeah. Give him some more adversity to deal with before he goes back to Germany to deal with that some more.
Mm-hmm.
Berhalter has some weird motivation tactics, but for the most part, they seem to work, at least when it comes to the second half anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I think the last thing to really touch on, because I think the defense really wasn't challenged much in this game, so I don't think there's much to talk about there. Matt Turner had nothing really to do. I honestly hope he gets to start against Canada. I don't wish any ill will on Zach Steffen or to have any continuing back problems, but I think this is one where you need a shot stopper.
Yep.
And you might need Matt Turner more than you say Zach Steffen, but I think the last thing to really look at for me is that midfield, right? Which has gotten to the point where it's kind of like picking itself with Adams, Musa, and McKinney. They each had their little moments, right? I mentioned the Musa and McKinney both having kind of opportunities to score goals, but I feel like there's still a little bit of where that connection with up front. Right? They're still kind of trying to figure it out.
They've got everything together in their zone, but they're wondering, it's like, okay, who are we getting it forward to? And when that changes all the time, they have to change, okay, well, if we have Pepe up here, we have Ferriera, or, we're getting and linking in Pulisic more. They have to account for too many things based upon who they're transitioning with into. And that's going to create more moments with them. Yeah, they're great. They're picking themselves. Fantastic. They have that anchor, getting everything from defense. But what if, and as you saw, are they going to start taking it upon themselves to try to create more chances? Should they be doing that while this is sorted out? You don't want those questions creeping in with only a couple of games left in just these windows.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the biggest one, their biggest challenge coming up next here on Sunday, early in the afternoon against Canada. Would you say it's the biggest one of the games that are left? This is the one that could change everything, right? If Canada or the U.S. win, not draw, because draw kind of just leaves everything as is, and then gives Mexico the opportunity to leapfrog.
Mm-hmm.
If one of these teams were to win, I mean, that puts them in a pole position to truly be that leader, right? Because they'd have, I mean, the U.S. is 1 point behind, so if they were to get 3 points, they'd be 2 points ahead, right? And then Canada would have 4 points ahead. So then, Canada would have to basically drop points the rest of the way, which I don't see happening.
No.
So there's definitely stuff to play for both teams here, and no Alphonso Davies, which is a huge blow for Canada there. No Eustachio either, who's he just got loaned over to Porto. I mean, those are two big losses, obviously, for Canada, but you still have a very much informed Jonathan David and Kyle Larin up front. You have you still have very important pieces in that midfield and defensive areas that you need to be careful of. Plus, you're playing, in Canada as well. That's going to be a big deal. I hope that where Berhalter has things queued up here and is ready to prepare it and picks that right team, because that's not a team you can go down 1-2-0 to and then hope you get it back in the second half.
Not at all. And to answer your question, yes, I think this is the biggest game remaining in qualifying, not just for the reasons and implications for the table, but going forward, this is going to launch Canada, well, hopefully, if they get that big win in front of their home crowd, this could launch Canada into basically qualifying with not relative ease, but somewhat. And then they could look at themselves as a little bit more dangerous in the World Cup. The U.S., after everything having that, are you still really in control of this region? Mexico, El Tri could easily be out for blood, knowing that big match that's left. There's a lot of things that should be playing in the U.S.'s mind going into this match against Canada, because you don't come up with the result against this, Mexico's going to be sitting there licking the chops. Panama's going to be sitting there licking the chops. It's like you don't want to put yourself in a precarious situation now when you're so close to the finish line.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to have to be worried about whether you wind up from first to fourth, regardless of whether you've got the mailman or any other, Oceania team that you have to deal with. You don't want to deal with that. You want to know that you go for the World Cup straight off, and then you can start preparing for that. And I think this is your time, right? You kind of bungled it at home against Canada. You let them dominate you. You had moments where you really could have gone down. This is that moment of redemption, I feel.
Oh, yeah.
Like between have next go around when US trails South Africa. This is a time for you to show that you have learned and improved. Now, again, Canada's going to be missing two extremely vital parts of their team, but you're always missing someone. It's how you respond.
Yeah.
And
Canada's going to be looking at this saying, we know these guys are beatable. Even if we're not at 100%. Look at what happened in the Nations League. Look at what happened the first time when we were in their house. Now they're coming to our house.
Exactly.
Oh, they are going to be all out for it. And if I'm Berhalter, I'm thinking long and hard. Long and hard.
Yeah. But moving on to what Canada actually did against Honduras here as we go around CONCACAF. The one guy I have not mentioned who was very important in this game and will probably be an important part of playing against the United States, Tajon Buchanan, the man that plays, at the time of last year, played for the New England Revolution. He scored really early on, 10th minute. Well, it's actually an own goal, but he created it. Con la bicicleta on the right side, and he crosses it in, forcing Honduras to actually have to try to deflect it, and he deflects it into his own goal. And that's your first goal very early on, setting the tempo for Canada to finally get things on the board. And that really made it to where Honduras had to think about what they're doing the rest of the time. And it wasn't really into the second half that we kind of started to see Honduras wake up a little bit. But before Honduras could really get things going, Jonathan David had a moment where he kind of just ate Magnifico over his lunch, but he got a big save in the process. Honduras did get some very interesting headers that forced Borja to make some big diving saves to his left or right. So from Elise or Kyoto, making some big moves there. But it was Jonathan David. Of course, when you're an informed guy like this man, you're going to try something crazy like what he did in the 73rd minute with the ball comes out. The goalkeeper came out too far. He chips it from a long distance over the goalkeeper and in for that second goal, which was absolutely splendid. If you haven't seen it, you definitely need to go watch it. It's a fantastic goal for Jonathan David. And that pretty much set up everything for Canada to get their big win. A big win in Honduras that's not been since a long time. So they are exercising demons here. And quite honestly, that's pretty much it for Honduras. They're done. They're done. They're going to play a consolation game pretty much against El Salvador at this point. Now, if El Salvador is able to win, they really could keep themselves in contention here, but we'll have to see how that plays out when we get to Sunday. But the other two games that happened on this evening. Mexico against Jamaica. A first half that saw Mexico have quite a few chances that Andre Blake had to save. Herrera or Hector Herrera almost had off a free kick. The ball kind of goes over. Andre Blake has to make a save. Andre Blake had to make another big save in the 35th minute. And actually, in the second half, kind of almost towards the 50th minute, it was actually Jamaica that went top, had the goal.
Now, keep in mind, with 10 men, no less.
Yes, with 10 men. They got the goal thanks to a Rogelio Funes Mori bringing the ball down in the wrong spot, kind of chesting it back towards the middle. And Junior Fleming is able to just let it go, hit one, and it goes through everyone and into the net. And until the 82nd minute, they had held on so well until the 82nd minute that Mexico was able to get the equalizer. And that kind of set things in motion to kind of let an entire release happen as Henry Martin hits that cross. Alexis Vega hits the header back in. Blake actually palms it with his hand away, but into the chest of Henry Martin, who came running in, and the ball goes in the net to get the draw. And then basically 30 seconds later, so unfortunate for Jamaica to not even get the point here. 30 seconds later, Tecatito with some magic kind of going around. Chadi Rodriguez with the header across to Alexis Vega, who puts it in. And then that's it. Mexico was able to hold on from there to get the win that they most needed. Very much like the first game where they left it late against Jamaica in the Azteca. They do it here again. And very unfortunate for Jamaica, who really could have used those 3 points, or at least a point, to keep Mexico kind of on a lower end. Kind of upsetting, I guess, if you're a U.S. men's national team fan, because you definitely could have had a little bit of breathing room in that second spot, but the top three stay where they are.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for something like that for Mexico, it's like another one of those where they breathe another sigh of relief.
Yes,
but if I'm the Reggae Boys, I still look at that and say, okay, we got a lead on them with 10 men. We held on to that lead for a half an hour. We're still something of a dangerous team ourselves.
Yeah, with a new coach
as
well. And like you said, with 10 men.
Yeah, so that's another team. Yes, they are still a little bit of a ways back, but as we saw with Los Ticos in Costa Rica, you still have anything that could happen. Anything.
I mean, I'm starting to get to the thing where I don't know about anything, but it is starting to get into a clearer picture here. And that's the thing is Jamaica now has to. If there's not a situation here, it is a must win.
Yep.
A must win situation that you have against Panama. Not only to keep Panama from gaining any more points, but also because you have to get those 3 points to get you at 10 to be able to have any kind of opportunity here.
Knowing that you also have Costa Rica coming in before the end of the window too.
Exactly. You have a game that can once again turn things into your favor. You have to get this win against Panama. Of course, it's in Panama, where Panama have been absolutely tremendous in this entire qualifying window. But Panama also have Mexico going to the Azteca, which is not an easy place. I mean, it's you're going into the Azteca against Mexico, who are going to want to get some points, knowing who Canada and the U.S. have. They know that they have the strongest matchup It's not going to be easy at all. And yeah, I mean, this is all set up here for Jamaica to still have an opportunity. You're going to rue that you didn't get the point against Mexico, but you have an opportunity to turn that around because Costa Rica at home against Panama is able to get the big win that they needed. And what do you know? It's from Mr. Old Reliable. Mr. I've been here, Mr. I run at the snail's place, but I get it done. And by the stroke of a hand of the Panamanian keeper, because that ball had no right to go in. Let me tell you, that ball was hit so soft. It had no right to go in. It's just like one of those where, like, he was just, all right, the ball came to me. I'm just going to hit it. And it's like, oh, he just puts up a prayer. And the Honduras keeper hits it with his hand, and it still goes in the net. Brian Ruiz, man, what a storied career for Costa Rica to get that goal in the 65th minute. But credit to Joe Campbell, who is, again, it's night and day what this team is when Joe Campbell is there. I mean, Joe Campbell is the driving force of Costa Rica. I mean, he's probably also like one of the youngest ones there of all the old ass stars that they keep bringing in. Constantly.
Got the young legs in. You need those.
And the Salvador has played again here as well because there was an injury. So it's crazy how we keep having all the old guys still in here. But no, Joe Campbell was a force in this game, and it looked like Panama was going to be this is going to be a game for them. They had some chances at the beginning that going in to like the 30th minute or so, it was really still a lot of Panama going in, getting some headers and everything. And then Campbell kind of towards the end had a big opportunity that had to be saved. So, you know, things kind of started to turn in the second half. Keylor Navas had a big save as well on his end off a free kick. It's just, I definitely think that, you know, you did what you had to do if you're Costa Rica. You went and beat one of the top teams and kind of brought them back down a little, back down a peg, and put yourself within striking distance now of that fourth spot. And to sit there and you know that you're going to go into the Azteca and play Mexico is not an easy task, but if there's one team that has done that and done that with some authority in the past, as far as like being able to go toe-to-toe with Mexico, it's Costa Rica. So you gave yourself some belief. Could you possibly steal a point or something from Mexico here? That's going to be one to watch for sure. I mean, all these games, really outside of the Honduras, El Salvador, all three of them are going to be huge for what happens, for what you need to be doing when it comes to February 2nd. I mean, if Costa Rica can get any kind of points against Mexico to really give them a boost and put Panama back in play as far as having that fourth spot up for grabs again, that would be crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the table right now and you look at where Costa Rica is, you would think to yourself, all right, goal difference of 0, 3 wins, 3 losses, 3 draws. So you figure for a lot of things, this screams average. But sometimes having that, it's screaming average. Look at what you could potentially do from there. Again, even that point, narrowing the gap, easily done. So it's one of those to where you really can't count Costa Rica out. And they've seen Mexico too. They're like, okay, they struggled in Jamaica. Yes, they're trying to rely on this home force, the mystique of the Azteca. No, that doesn't necessarily matter to us. We know what we can do. Let's go out there and do it again. it wouldn't surprise me if they end up getting that point.
Yeah, I mean, it would certainly be pretty incredible if they could get the point. I'm sorry, I'm having to like zoom this in as much as I can for people that are, gonna wind up watching later on YouTube or whatever. But right now, so this is the standings after we finish this last round of games. Now everybody has played 9 games so far here. Canada, 19 points. US 18. Mexico 17. Panama 3 points below because of the 3 points that they lost, are in 4th now. A little bit of cushion between the 3 teams above them, and now not so much of a cushion with Costa Rica there. Again, Panama has an opportunity to go up to 17 and absolutely kill Jamaica's hopes. If to make sure that they qualify, and Costa Rica, obviously, if Jamaica can perhaps get a big upset or steal a point or anything from Panama, Costa Rica with a win could leapfrog Panama. So, still, like I said, these 3 games that we're going to see are going to be super interesting. Again, let me see if I can scroll down here while you guys are looking at it. El Salvador is there at 6, so they're not completely out, but they have to win. There is no if and buts. They cannot get a draw here against Honduras. They have to win, get those 9 points, and start stringing some results together here, or there is no chance
None.
for Honduras here. But yeah, so these are the remaining fixtures that we're going to be talking about for Sunday. We have, of course, the game that we've been talking about a bunch here. Canada and the U.S. is probably perhaps the biggest game. That one's going to go actually first at 3:05, and I hate it because I'm going to be at work. And then you have Mexico, Costa Rica at 6. This is Eastern time, by the way. And then Panama, Jamaica, basically at the same time. And then an hour later, I don't know why they picked this as the last game, Honduras and El Salvador, kicking off an hour later at 7:05. And then, you look at the remaining fixtures here. Jamaica, Costa Rica is huge now, especially if Jamaica can get some kind of points against Panama, and what happens with Costa Rica, Mexico, USA, Honduras, Canada, El Salvador. You know what you're expecting those to go. But obviously Canada is having to go down to El Salvador. Not always the easiest place to play. And then this big game here at freaking 10 o'clock at night on February 2nd on a Wednesday. So, oh my God, Eric, it's another Nate Light.
Primetime television, not to mention you've got a lot of people for these Sunday games that are going to be split screening. Could they have at least done some?
No, this is the Wednesday, February 2nd game. That's at 10 o'clock.
Right, well, with that, but I mean for Sunday, you've got a lot of fans in the U.S. that are going to be split screening because you got other football going on. So I'm like, for the Sunday schedule, could they not have flip-flopped? At least for Wednesday, you got a little bit of a cushion. Yes, Mexico wanting that more prime time, 10 o'clock at night kickoff, fine. So that way they could get their time on TV too. So I get that, but it's like, Sunday's going to be a long day. Long day.
Yes, certainly going to be a long one there. But all right. Yeah, that's how things are looking as we go into that second round of fixtures there. We will be back on Sunday as soon as that El Salvador Honduras game. So probably somewhere around 9 or 10 o'clock at night Eastern time. We'll be back here doing it live on the Twitch, on the Twitter, on the Facebook page, WTMNet on Facebook, WTMNet on the Twitch. Go follow me at WTM Sean on Twitter, Eric at Squid Sportshead. You can find us there, and we'll be able to be doing our thing here of doing these. It's right there for you at the bottom, which I stupidly forgot to do earlier while we're doing this, but at least you're getting to see it. We'll be on the lastwordsoccer.com as well. You can go check us out on WTONet.com. Of course, WTO Network, where we have everything, all of our shows that we do. My video games show, Eric's plethora of shows now between the kickoff, Life is Like a Game show, Point of Viewer. There's a video games trivia show that apparently that I did with Mark and a few of the other guys. You can guess who won there. Not me. And then that'll show up, I think, on the 29th, which is, the day after tomorrow if you're seeing this on the first day. And, check out everything the man over there, Mark Radlich, does. He does amazing things and does too many things.
I'm going to be invading his territory in a few weeks as well. So,
yeah.
As if you didn't get enough of me, now he's going to be dealing with it.
Yep, now you get more, Eric. So that being said, so the schedule right now is going to look like this. We're going to do basically the same kind of show we're doing right now, again on Sunday, and then again on Wednesday, but basically it'll be Thursday by the time you're listening to it, because by the time we finish recording and everything and putting it up, it'll be Thursday morning at some point. And then obviously for you guys as well, after that, we will be hitting it, making sure we're regular Monday nights, Tuesday morning for you guys. We're going to get into these Major League Soccer team previews. We're going to be talking about what's been going on in the offseason, all of that stuff that we've missed with CONCACAF Champions League, of course, coming back in very soon as well. So we'll be talking about that. Of course, we'll be going back to the Manchester United moment and other things that we usually talk about on the shows, and of course what's been going on in the WSL. So we're going to have team previews every week. We'll have at least 7 teams that we'll be talking about. So this is from the I should have had the calendar pulled up already. I'm not doing good with this right now, but so from the 7th of February. Oh man, I miscalculated here. Well, we'll have to do a show in the middle of the week. But from the 7th of February on, every Monday we'll have a show. There may be a Thursday or so in there that we'll also have a show to have 7 teams, a show that we're going to be doing a preview for until we get to the start of the season, which is February 26th. That's the first start of the season. And then, of course, we'll get into what we're going to do once the season starts, which we'll talk about that more once we get close to there. But hopefully, if you enjoyed what you heard, again, remember we have a regular episode every week. Once we get past this window of the U.S. men's national team games, let us know what you thought about the U.S. men's national team, what you're dreading or thinking about heading into that game against Canada on Sunday. And until then, enjoy your weekend. Have fun if you're going to watch those NFL championship games, or you're going to watch the soccer. Enjoy whatever it is that you're going to do. Until then, for myself, for Eric, see you later, everybody.
Peace.
Later.